स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ओम त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। ओम गुरुदेव भगवान शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ गराशपति महाराज की जय। भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय। शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय। स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी प्रबुद्धानंद भगवान की जय। माता पिता की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। हरि ओम। Chapter 3. We have to see verse number 29. In verse number 28 we saw Tattva vivitu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayo guna guneshu vratanta iti matva na sajjate. Whereas Arjuna, the mighty armed, the knower of the truth of gunas and action, is not bound, knowing that the gunas express themselves in gunas, body, mind, sense, complex. This we had seen yesterday. In this, Krishna contrasted the jnani with the ajnani mentioned in the previous verses. The ignorant person takes the body, mind, sense complex, kriya, karya, karana, sangata as oneself, and oneself to be the karya, karana, sangata, thereby making no distinction between the two. This lack of discrimination is their individuality, comes from that which makes one seem unique and distinct. A jnani, on the other hand, while taking the body, mind, sense complex as himself or herself, no doubt does not take the self to be the body, mind and senses. So he said, you may care for the welfare of those who do not understand, but they too have to take care of your words. Otherwise, they will only sympathize with you, feeling that you are completely deluded. And if they do not care for your words, you can tell them the truth. The Atma is a Karta. This is what a Jnani has to tell to the other people. In the modern literature on Vedanta, you may read that you must become a Sangha. This is why some people spend an entire life trying to become a Sangha. In this also, it is also sometimes said that you should experience the Asanga Atma. There is an experiencer, an object of experience, and Atma is to be experienced by another Atma, who is an experiencer. All that you experience in this way is anatma, not Atma, because Atma is a Sangha. In fact, to be recognized. Krishna further cautioned the wise not to confuse those who still think themselves as the doer. The wise who are explaining to other people, not to confuse them. Let them Just try to move with like a river. You want to change the river's direction, then you can't suddenly change the direction of the river. It has to be done slowly, steadily. Krishna says people are bound in terms of guna and karma. Verse number 29. Prakrate guna sammudaha sajjante guna karmasu tan krat sanvido mandan kratan sanvina vichalayet. Prakrate guna sambandha. Prakriti guna sambandha. Those who are deluded by the modifications of Prakriti, Guna Karmeshu, in terms of the body, mind, sense complex, gunas and actions, sajjate, becomes bound. Tan, those people, akratasna vidha, those who do not know, mandana, those who are not discriminative, krit sanvit, one who knows, na vichalayate, should not disturb. Those who are deluded by the modifications of the Prakriti becomes bound in terms of body, mind and sense complex, gunas and action. One who knows the self should not disturb those who do not know the self, who are discriminative. Here Prakriti Guna Sambandha refers to those who are deluded with reference of Prakriti and Guna. Prakriti Guna, which are the modifications of the Prakriti. They take the self to be the body, mind, sense complex. This expression can also mean that people become deluded because the mind and senses, their ignorance with reference to those being the origin of their problem. Looking upon themselves as doers, such people become bound to get attached. Sajjanate, getting attached with reference to the body and mind and senses, gunas, and with reference to the action. Whatever action they do, they get bound with it because of the gunas. They get bound with mind, body and senses. They get attached to the karma because of mind, body and senses. To take the body, mind and senses as oneself means I am only as good as body, with all their limitation. To think this way is bondage. The people discussed in this verse have become bound with reference to Prakriti Guna, such as body, mind, sense complex, Karya Karana Sangata, and also to their karmas. The bondage manifests in term of action such as this is my karma and I perform it for the sake of this result, awaiting for the result. Because people experience success and failure, they are bound by the results of their action. And if they have Shraddha, Punya and Papa are also involved, then success and failure, Papa and Punya becomes the ruling factor in their lives. Thus such people have both Drashta and Adrashta conflicts, attached as they are to the seen and unseen results of their action. The verse also tells us a little more about those who are bound in terms of gunas and karmas. They are described as mandas, those who have no viveka. Mandatva means dullness. The sense who have when you have indigestion, for instance, and do not feel like eating and doing anything, you develop a complete dispassion even towards food and that you like, and it lasts for as long as discomfort lasts, at least. And if this mandatva happens in our thinking, we have definition for person manda discussed in this verse. Nothing initiates in the brain of such a person. Is a manda buddhi. There is no fire whatsoever. All those situations unfold around the person. There is no assimilation, no response. There are a lot of situations around people, but they don't respond to those situations. The word mandatva is used here only as a definition for condition of the mind. It is not meant as a criticism either of oneself or of another. The word simply indicates a person who does not discriminate between Atma and Anatma. The person who does not discriminate between Atma and Anatma is called Manda. Two other words are used in the verse to make the same distinction between one who has the knowledge and one who does not. Kritsanvit is a wise person, one who has complete kratsana knowledge with the reference to Atma and Anatma, whereas akritsanavit refers to everyone else, because akritsanavit does not know that he or she is not the doer. The person has problem. The Akarshanavit may understand that Anatma, body, mind and senses perform action, but may think of Atma as something other than himself or herself, something that is not known. Therefore, one has some knowledge but does not know totally, which is the meaning of Akritsanavit. For a person who knows nothing, there is no problem. The person who knows nothing, there is no problem. Ignorance is a bliss, as they say, provided, of course, the ignorance is total. For example, there is no problem in sleep, because you do not think of yourself as karta, bhokta or anything else. Only when there is some knowledge is there a problem. Those who are dull, manda pragyas, those who have no discrimination, viveka, with the reference to Atma and Anatma, are referred to here as akritsanvits. These are the people that wise person should not disturb. Tanna vichalayet. Never disturb them by telling them that karma will not produce moksha. They should not be told karma is all bondage. Why do you do karma? Why do you do prayer? Why do you go to church or to temple? Why do you do japa and meditation? These are all nonsense. Only jnana will give you moksha. Such comments should not be made, because they do not help anybody. A person should not be told not to work, or that working or money is useless. Let the person work, otherwise one will become lazy. Such people will end up at your door telling you that you said not to make money now, and now they need some. People need food and place to live. Whom else will they come to but the person who told them not to make money? Therefore, do not tell them not to make money. Tell them to do so following dharma. You can even give them some ideas on how to go about it. There is nothing wrong with making money. It is a resource, lakshmi. And as such, it should not be abused. If on the other hand you are talking to a person who has seen that money is not an end in itself, and he or she has some viveka, then you can talk about karma, yoga or sannyasa. It all depends on the person to whom you are talking. Krishna's point here was that person should not be disturbed unnecessarily. Even a person who is a mumukshu, who has viveka, should not be indiscriminately told to take sannyasa. For some who still have raga, dvesha, sannyasa will not work. It will only be abused. Such a person should be told to perform action as karma yogi, as Krishna told Arjuna in next verse. Maye sarvani karmani sanyasyadhyatma chetsa nirashi niramarmo bhutva yudayasva vigatta jvaraha. Sarvani, all, karmani, actions, mai, on to me, sannyasa, renouncing, adhyatma cheshta, with the mind that is discriminating, nirisha, devoid of expectation with reference to the future, nirmamaha, devoid by the senses of mindless, bhutva, being, vigyata jvaraha, without any anger or frustration, yudayasva, fight, renouncing all actions unto me. Here Krishna says, renounce all actions unto me with the mind that is discriminating, devoid of expectation with reference to the future and any sense of mindness, without any anger or frustration whatsoever. Fight, act. The word fight in this verse can refer to anything beginning with one's daily battle of getting out of bed in the morning throughout the day. Also, there is a number of situations to be faced. For Arjuna, what had to be faced was an actual battle. The battle of kartavya karma, a to be done action for him. Given all that Arjuna and Krishna had said before, Krishna's mandate, get up and fight, was to be expected. It was neither a command nor advice, it was a teaching. To do action was a teaching from Krishna. Having presented his argument, Krishna simply said, do it. Thus there was a definite, therefore implied here, indicating teaching rather than a command or advice. The rest of the verse deals with how Arjuna was to fight. First, give up all activities. Fight, sarvani karmani sannyasa yudayasvaha. The real meaning of renunciation. There are two types of sarva karma sannyasa. As we have seen, how can you fight if you have renounced all activities? It won't work. If on the other hand the mandate is renouncing all actions, go to the teacher and listen to Shastra. Sarvani karmani sannyasa sarvam kuriyat guru meva bhigyate. Giving up all activities, burning all your bridges behind you and your boat too, if you have any, go for moksha. The giving up is meant for learning alone, meaning that you go to a teacher and study until you gain knowledge. That is moksha. Renunciation is purely for moksha, not for anything else. We have seen how sannyasa is a particular lifestyle that enables a person to renounce all activities in order to pursue knowledge. But here sannyasa is used for conjunction with the mandate, renouncing all activities. Fight, sarvani karmani sannyasa yudhayasva. Fighting being an activity, what does giving up all activity means? Does it mean that Arjuna is not to do anything other than fight, performing only one action, give up every other activity, prayers, rituals, eating, sleeping, helping, everything, and fight? Obviously, because activity in the form of fighting is involved, This sannyasa is other than what we have seen before. Here it relates to doing what is to be done, which for Arjuna happens to be a yuddha, fighting, battle, war. Krishna was not suggesting that Arjuna give up all activities and fight. This would not have been possible. What was indeed here becomes much clear when the word maye, on to me, is taken into account. On to me means on to the Lord, thereby connecting the giving up sannyasa with karma yoga, meaning that all one's activity are offered on to the Lord. If you offer all your activities, all your karmas on to the Lord, the karma are done as karma yoga. Karma yoga results in antakaran shuddhi, and antakaran shuddhi ultimately helps in getting knowledge, which leads to moksha. In this commentary of this verse, Shankara compares this offering of one's action on how a servant of a king goes about doing various activities without questioning how or why it is to be done. I have been placed here to do this particular activity. This is how I have been asked to do it, and therefore I do it. Similarly, whether you like it, you find yourself in a given situation that calls for particular action. For Arjuna, it happened to be battle, a fight. For another person, it may be something else. For you, it may be a daily routine. You have to do. Your daily routine is a battle for you. You want to get liberated. Liberation won't come by leaving these activities. And although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, doing what was to be done would not always mean fighting. If he had taken an expression, Sarvani Karamani Sannyasa Yuddhayasva, wrongly, he may have thought that he should always fight, which was not what was intended. Doing what is to be done is to be understood within the context of the situation one finds. Doing what is to be done is according to the situation we are in. We have to do the duty. As a grihastha, we have to look after the household. We have to earn money and look after well. Look after the children. Look after the parents. Look after the wife. This is the duty. Certain situations call for certain actions. Therefore, yuddhayasva can be taken to mean kurushva. Kurushva. Do what is to be done. And do it with an awareness of Ishvara. This is the most important part. Do whatever is to be done with the awareness of Ishvara. Awareness of Ishvara is pointed out in the verse by the word Adhyatma Shetasa. Shetasa meaning with the mind. Chetasa, with the mind. The mind should have viveka. Do whatever is to be done with the viveka buddhi. Adhyatma means with reference to oneself. Adhyatma cheshtaha. Adhyatma chetas enables you to know what is and what is not the right thing to do. Viveka is what tells you what is right and what is to be done and what is not to be done. This capacity is called Vivek Buddhi. And we all have this Buddhi. A Vivek Buddhi says, I am a doer, of course, but I do this for sake of Ishvara, as Bhratya, the one who serves. Aham kartha Ishvara bhartayavat karomi. The person who performs action in this way is a mumukshu, a seeker. See, all the karmas done with the Ishvara Buddhi, Viveka Buddhi, the person who performs action in this way is a mumukshu, is a jnani, towards a jnanam. Because the person thinks of himself or herself as karta, he or she is a karma yogi. Because they think themselves, because you think yourself as the doer, you are a karma yogi, doing karmas for Ishvara. Doing karmas onto Ishvara. There is an evolution that can take place here. One who is not karma yogi and who is totally deluded, Vimud Atma, is also a karta, but still does karma for result alone. His thought is, for my sake I am doing this. For earning crores and crores of rupees I am doing business. For Vimuda, expediency and convenience take precedence over a more appropriate means when choosing a course of action. He may take a right action or a wrong course of action. Even though he or she may have one eye on dharma, the other eye on can be somewhat blinded if the person thinks there is any justification for going against dharma. Everything belongs to Ishvara alone. The karma yogi, on the other hand, performs action quite differently for the sake of Ishvara. He looks after his family for the sake of Ishvara. He looks after his children for the sake of Ishvara. He looks after his parents for the sake of Ishvara. As Ishvara, whatever he does is a prayer. And when prayer is done, prasada is what we get. And prasada is antakaran shuddhi. Nothing else. Therefore, an awareness is necessary, which is viveka here, adhyatma chesh, with the mind that is awakened to Ishvara. Do all the activities that you are going to do, surrendering them on to me. Krishna said here. Why? Because you are placed in a situation that you did not create. You did not create this situation. Nor does anything really belongs to you. Everything belongs to Ishvara alone. Governing such situation is the Lord. The order determines what is expected of you in which situation, and as a karma yogi you do it with an awareness of this fact. Further, Krishna said, Nirastha nirmama bhutva yuddhasva nirashe, is one from whom all notions about the future asha have gone. Future plans, goals, grandiose schemes and priorities can stifle and inhibit one's present course of action with reference to what is to be done now. A person who thinks only of the future will compromise what is to be done in the present, thereby becoming a schemer. Such a person is not karma yogi. He or she is an aviveki, one who performs karma for results alone, What is to be done is to not done if it is inhibited by your own asha. Thus, Narasi is one who is not inhibited by futuristic ambition nor devoid of ambitions. Nirmama means one whom mamatva, the mindness, is gone. Nirmama. Such a person no longer thinks in terms of this is mine, that is not mine, which also inhibits what is to be done. This is not my job. I am not getting anything out of this. Why should I do this when this is his job? He is supposed to do it. This is mindness, or mamatva is the greatest villain in the maturing process of a person, because to be mature one has to see only what is to be done, whether you do it or it was someone else's duty. If it was to be done, it should be done. Therefore, mamatva should not interfere with one's doing what is to be done. Ye mera hai, merapan. We can see by these two words, nirasi and niramama, that karma yoga is not an ordinary thing. It requires lot of maturity. Karma yoga is not an ordinary thing. Please understand. It requires lot of maturity and an awareness of the laws that are Ishvara, Dharma. Karma yoga does not mean that you should not receive wages for the work you do. Although there may be situations where it would be more appropriate not to. What makes you karma yogi is simply the awareness of Ishvara, as we have seen before and will see again. Another word given in this verse describing how one is to perform action is vigataja vara. Meaning to be free from all anger and frustration. Suppose a man wants to do what is to be done in a given situation that Ishvara has placed him or her in, but thinks that Ishvara has placed him in a wrong situation. He acknowledges that Ishvara knows what he is doing, but still thinks of it was a wrong situation and become frustrated. This frustration is what is meant by jvara, leading to murmuring, complaining. By using the word Vigat Jwara, Krishna told Arjuna to fight cheerfully, without any complaints, without an iota of complaint, frustration, despair or anger. If you are in a wrong situation but you have to do something, then also do it without any frustration, without any complaint, because that is the situation given by Ishvara. If you do that karma without complaint, with a vivek buddhi, you will certainly get a beautiful prasadam. Verse number 31st. Those who follow the teaching gains moksha. Ye me matamidam nityamune itishtanti manava shraddhavanto anasuyanto muchyante te api karmabhi. Shraddhavantah, people who have faith. Anusuyantah, those who do not find fault with the teaching or the teacher. Ye, those. Manavaha, people. Me, my. Idam, this. Matam, teaching, nityam, constantly, anutishtanti, follows, te, they, api, too, karma, karmabhihi, muchyante, are freed from the hold of the karmas. It's a beautiful text, very beautiful verse. Those people who constantly follow this teaching of mine, full of faith, without finding fault with the teaching or the teacher, they too are freed from the hold of karma phalas. They don't get attached. They don't look for karma phalas. They do it as their own duty. And when we do karmas as duty, then what happens? We'll see tomorrow. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Tat Sat. Harihi Om Tat Sat.